Yo, 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 yo. This is your boy Jalen Stevens, and today we're talking about the divide that is fucking up a lot of America and causing major conflict, tension, all the time. Hold on, right quick. Every time I start, I go live. Hold on. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Usually I get a phone call every time I get on live or multiple phone calls, and my son something. So bear with me, man, as we try to talk about these differences in the coaches of Democrat, Republican, Muslim, Christian, or any other religion that isn't the majority like Christian. Even let's just say Catholic and Christian. Like we're gonna talk about the differences in a lot of the ideologies of America and talk about how they conflict with each other and how on a daily we are at odds with each other because this becomes major tools for getting certain people in office when you lean into certain demographics. Because a lot of people just think only black people get pandered to during the election cycle, but that's far from true. The fact is, white evangelical Christians are probably the most pandered to during election time. But we're gonna get into some clips, man. Cause as y'all all know, Joe, old Joe, decided to bow out, man, and take himself out of the candidacy for president of the 2024 election.
With the election, just think about this, 105 days away from today. In a statement, President Biden said his decision was in the best interest of the Democrats and the country, and he vowed to finish his term in office, the beginning of the end of a political career that has spanned more than 50 years.
A half century, and now the eyes of the nation fall on Vice President Kamala Harris, who President Biden has formally endorsed as his successor. If the Democratic Party agrees, she will become the first woman of color to be nominated for the country's highest office.
Yeah, and that can start with my first division right there, because as some people might be aware of, Obama didn't fully endorse Kamala Harris, and a lot of people, I'm sure, in the Democratic Party are not willing to stand behind Kamala Harris. I know a few on the list are the Joe Biden, of course, the Clintons. Uh, I want to say like AOC. I believe Bernie. Some of the more prominent faces of the Democratic Party. But for the most part, there's still a bit of contest to whether Kamala will be endorsed by the entire Democratic Party, or will there be other candidates that would have to be up or viable or be nominated or put forth as a nomination. So that's yet to be seen, but I do know that Obama, and a lot of people tend to look at Obama as the nigga who know what niggas gonna do type shit. So you know what I'm saying? We gonna see. You know what I'm saying? As far as how him not fully endorsing Kamala Harris is going to affect the people, man. But as I talked in one of my earlier or previous videos, I mean, that there is a lot of division in America right now. Political violence is on the rise, and the Republican and Democrat Party are truly starting to look like the Crips and the Bloods. Now, we're gonna look at this video on political violence, and then we're gonna start talking about why there so many divisions in America. Because Democrat and Republican is not the only division. But let's go.
Look at what happened.
Political violence strikes yet again in America with an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. The Republican presidential candidate narrowly avoiding serious injury at that rally Saturday in Pennsylvania.
We're clear. We're clear.
Well, it's not the first time a president or presidential candidate has been the target of political violence. It's been decades since such a high-profile attempt. In 1963, President John F. Kennedy was shot and killed in Dallas while riding in a motorcade.
Two priests who were with President Kennedy say he is dead.
His brother, Robert Kennedy, shot and killed 5 years later in 1968 while campaigning for president. Then, 13 years after that, in 1981, there was the attempted assassination on President Ronald Reagan. In recent years, politicians on both sides of the aisle have also been the target of attacks, like Democratic Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, who was shot in 2011, and Republican Congressman Steve Scalise, who was shot at a congressional baseball team practice in 2017. Since then, the divisive political climate has escalated even more, leading to the 2020 plot to kill Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, the 2022 attack on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, and the arrest of a man who was allegedly attempting to kill Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh that same year.
We cannot condone this.
Both Republicans and Democrats are condemning the attack on Mr. Trump, but the incident only punctuating concerns about a growing support for political violence. A recent PBS-NPR Marist poll found 1 in 5 Americans think violence might be necessary to get the country back on track. Last summer, Tucker Carlson asked former President Trump whether he was concerned about violence against him.
Are you worried that they're going to try and kill you? Why wouldn't they try and kill you, honestly?
They're savage animals. They are people that are sick, really sick. But I've seen what they do. I've seen the lengths that they go to.
Following Saturday's assassination attempt, well-known political scientist Ian Bremmer expressing concern that what happened in Pennsylvania could lead to even more violence.
This is a very grave turn of events in a country that is very deeply polarized, and I deeply worry that it presages much more political violence and social instability.
A dangerous reckoning in America, now reaching a boiling point.
And again, guys, in recent years, extremism experts have been warning that the country's increasing polarization will lead to more political violence. Now, according to the Combating Terrorism Network, a review of cases over the last year, guys, shows that the number of federal charges relating to threatening public officials has jumped sharply and is on track to hit new record highs. Savannah and Willie.
Yeah, and the FBI has been saying that again and again. Liz Kreutz with a look back. Liz, thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.
So, you know what I'm saying? As we can see, man, there's a lot of divide in the political discourse to the point that there isn't any political discourse. You see a couple of the cases that I talked about in my video, politics versus entertainment. Like the what's her name, Gabby Gifford and Gretchen Whitmore and Steve Scalise. I don't know how they pronounce that shit, but you know what I'm saying. As we can see, shit is getting crazy for both sides of the political spectrum. But I believe it's even crazier when you have the highest members of our political office calling people monsters and savages and animals. You know, because when you dehumanize a people, it becomes easier to treat them badly. This is something that has been corroborated by many social scientists and just people who commentate and do the media shit, all this shit. Like, this is coming from multiple different people. Everybody is seeing the polarization of America, and yet people are not understanding why are people drawing in so much to one side or the other. Now, I had a good conversation with a brother, man, who asked, is the truth better than a lie? And he didn't ask it exactly like that. I think he might have asked, is the truth or which one is more comfortable, the truth or a lie, or which is better to live with, or something to that extent. And my answer was that for a lot of people, a lie is way more comfortable because of the sensationalism of a lie. You can tell it this way and tell it that way and add your own little pizzazz to it. And this tends to be the go-to for so many people. So when it comes to what's causing the division here in America, I believe it's people wanting to believe lies. And if we really look at it, people on both sides of the spectrum. It don't matter what you want to put in and insert into this conversation: politics, race relations, the economy. One side believes the other side is believing a lie every time. Now, I want to get more to what the truth is, but first we got to kind of dig deep into some of the more crucial parts of our democracy. Now, a lot of y'all should remember, I was a young nigga when this was even happening. But back when Obama first started running for president, and really even before Obama was running for president, there was a radicalization of the Republican Party when people started feeling like they were getting taxed too much. Not only that, they believed they had a big problem with the immigration that was flooding into America, which, you know what I'm saying, I know this is some crazy shit we talking about, you know what I'm saying, 20 some years ago. And or even if you really want to think about it, since the founding of this country, has always been a problem with certain immigrants over others. But I digress. About, like I say, around in Bush term, beginning of Obama's candidacy, there was a lot of talk of immigration, especially the whole Muslim situation. We was 6 or 7 years off removed from 9/11, and you know we I think it was in Afghanistan and Iraq at the time. So it was a lot of talk about, you know, defeating Al Qaeda and taking out the Taliban and all this different shit like that, which I don't know if we ever accomplished either one. I mean, I know we took out some leaders and shit like that, but as far as these organizations not existing, I believe still to this day they both exist. So mission failed, seem like. But as far as the rhetoric of keeping immigrants out of our country, I believe it got very heightened during this moment. Even so, to the point that Obama was questioned on whether he was a United States citizen or not. And in today's political discord, niggas be like, yeah, I don't know. We don't know, bro. You know what I'm saying? People be trying to drop fake birth certificates and everything, show he was born in Kenya or some shit like that, just to cause more division and more uproar. But there was a simpler time in American politics, man. And I think, you know what I'm saying, if we actually paid attention and looked at how discord and governing was done at a point in time in our history, we might, you know what I'm saying, learn to respect each other a little bit more and not go so scandalous with all this campaigning that we're doing. Because now campaigning is not anything but tearing down the other side. It's never about what you're gonna really do. These niggas don't talk about nothing they're gonna do. All they talk about is how bad the other person is. But we're gonna take a look at a clip from I want to say a McCain rally or maybe even speech, and also McCain's funeral where Obama spoke.
I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's an Arab. He is not. No?
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you. I have to tell you, he is a decent person and a person that you do not have to be scared as President of the United States. Now, look,
It also showed John's disdain for self-pity. He had been to hell and back, and yet somehow never lost his energy or his optimism or his zest for life. So cancer did not scare him, and he would maintain that buoyant spirit to the very end, too stubborn to sit still, opinionated as ever, fiercely devoted to his friends, and most of all to his family. It showed his irreverence, his sense of humor, a little bit of a mischievous streak. After all, what better way to get a last laugh than to make George and I say nice things about him to a national audience? And most of all, it showed a largeness of spirit.
Now, things used to be a lot simpler, man. Though those people, those two, John McCain and Obama, definitely had strong differences in certain areas of policy. Even though I believe most of the shit was the same, you know what I'm saying? And it usually is the same, especially economics and foreign policy, but we're not going to get there today. So, but these niggas both had differences, went at each other hard in debate, but had enough respect to not take it past attacking the other's policy and the other's decisions of whatever they wanted to make, how they wanted to go on carrying on the United States and whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets too personal these days. Now you got people like, and I don't even honestly, like with Trump, I don't think Trump even really cares that much about everything that he talks about. But I believe he believes, and I don't even think he knows his fan base. His core base believes in the shit that he's saying. So he keeps saying it just to pull in the masses, man. But we have got to get to a point where respect can be had between conservative and liberal, black and white, you know what I'm saying? Black and brown, white and brown, all that shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Rich and poor, everything, bro. Like, cause we have gotten to a point where there's so much divide on either side, bro. Anything at this point could make everything start tumbling down. Like I see it every day. People like, and that's what I honestly don't think people get about black and white people, bro. Is that we live in two totally different worlds, man. Like black people are taught to comply. You know what I'm saying? Don't you, unless they don't have any parental figures or responsible, let's say that responsible parental figures in their life. For the most part, black people are taught to comply, whereas white people are taught to know their rights. To the point where now white people are creating their own rights. They saying, "Fuck it, man. Who are you to tell me what I can do?" Whereas black people are told, "Well, you need to just, you know what I'm saying, do whatever you got to do to get home." And then when black people decide to exercise the know your rights shit and do this, that, and the third, and even if we don't exercise these things, we are put in situations where we end up in grave danger. Whereas, and I'm not saying that white people don't ever get put in grave danger for some shit, but for the most part, white people are coddled in this society. They're able to express themselves in certain ways that black people can't because it's not expected of us. I was on this guy Cat of Truth channel the other day, and it was none to say less. It was very interesting, but his point of view is that there are let's just to be kind about it, because I'm gonna let you listen to it itself and you can hear what his real point of view is. But this is what he is trying to say. He's trying to convey that there's not enough black people to support black-owned businesses in the niche markets like candle stores and yoga spots and you know what I'm saying, certain books like science fiction and all this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit. Like he pretty much said that the reason why white liberal communities, you know what I'm saying, are so great, which this guy's a conservative, but the white liberal communities are so great because they have so many different options of activities and hobbies to do, which definitely proves a great point, because they definitely have all these things. But he goes on to say that, you know, us niggas, you know what I'm saying, we don't even like that type of shit. When I think we're definitely in a time and age where black people are branching out of the conventional stereotype. Even he, though he is one of those stereotypes, broke out of the conventional one, at least. The one of us being brutes and ignorant and this, that, and the third. I believe he considers himself to be a very intelligent man. So for him to not realize that he is a prime example that all black people are not this type of mindset, even though he does admit to certain shit that I guess does fit certain stereotypes, like him saying in another clip that I'm not showing that he had multiple girlfriends. You know, all black people have multiple, all black men have multiple girlfriends and shit like that, which fails to realize that it's plenty of black men that probably have not had any girlfriend. And I'm not even gonna go down the letter crew train today, but there's people in that community as well. So that's just a crazy little thing, man, that I'm gonna play that clip later actually. But I want to get into the fact that a part of this division is that we need a scapegoat for the problems of our forefathers. And both groups, and I ain't gonna say what I'm saying both groups, because this really goes for a lot of this shit. Black and white, politics, economics, wherever you want to go with this shit. You know what I'm saying? theory. One side blames the other side, pretty much. It's all their fault. When at the end of the day, we should all be looking ourselves in the mirror and telling ourselves it's all our fault, because we let community break down. We let lawlessness, you know what I'm saying, become the way of the street. You know what I'm saying? There was once, like, I think it was Martin Luther King who said, riots are the voice of the unheard. And when we complain about certain riots, like the 2020 riots of let's just say Black Lives Matter riots, or whatever they want to call it, of 2020, but fail to realize that there were 2 protests going on during 2020. There was a lot of protests going on during 2020. 2020 was the year of uprising, bro. With COVID, and I know some people feel like you can't say this word, but with COVID being as strong and rampant as it was during 2020, and people needing to figure out how we was going to best combat this virus, even though some people still believe in the bullshit. But we had, people believing in bullshit pretty much. And that's why I say I'm on one of those sides of where I might say that it might not have been as serious as certain media let on. I will say that it was serious enough to take out, you know what I'm saying, as much people as the flu does, if not a little bit more. And though that might not be significant to people who are conditioned to understand people die and blah, 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 people don't want to die. I don't know if y'all really realize that. And that's why I say sometimes we take the humanity out of so much of these conversations, man. That's why people took shit so serious, maybe because they were high risk, maybe because they had family members that were high risk, and we were just trying to preserve certain shit. But you had people that protested the mask mandate, protested the stay-at-home mandate, and I'm pretty sure most likely spread the disease all over across the country, man, to the point where, you know what I'm saying, they had to start sending motherfuckers home. They had to start making it like illegal for niggas to not wear masks and shit, or not to do this, because with nobody that, you know what I'm saying, decided that, all right, I must be in my own bubble and shit. But nobody decided to do that. They decided that I don't give a fuck about anybody else's feelings. I'm going to walk around without my mask. I'm going to keep going to work, or I'm going to keep going outside and whoop and the third. And don't get me wrong, I was one of them niggas. I was definitely one of them niggas, man. And though I kept away from high risk people. I tried my best to keep away from, because at the end of the day, I was an essential worker during most of COVID. Some of COVID I wasn't working, but during the times I was working, I was actually an essential worker. So they kind of put me at harm's risk anyway. So I do believe that there are parallels to this society, bro. Like black and white, you know what I'm saying? It's a parallel. People we like to look at it as opposing, but I look at it more as a parallel. We both have similar issues and problems with certain shit, and certain problems with the other side that are somewhat diametrically opposed. And what I mean is that our natures are sometimes so built one way that they create a natural conflict with each other, because it's pretty much 2 opposites coming into a land and trying to vie for resources and all that. So this becomes a problem at the end of the day for a lot of the people out here, man, that have to try to live in a, I guess, just and civil manner with people sometimes who are not so civil. It can go for both ways. Like I say, niggas, you know what I'm saying, who have been in the hood don't enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? But we also don't enjoy when we think we done escaped the hood, that the suburbians go and do some hood shit. Like try to lynch niggas or try to get us thrown out of the woo, because they do that, because now they do police shit. Back then they used to do some gangster shit, some crazy killer shit. But now they on some, you know what I'm saying, let's get the laws involved. Let the laws do or do not, you know what I'm saying, because you never know with them. You know what I'm saying? And one of the biggest divisions that I feel like when it comes to black and white is the lack of understanding our unique situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, most of y'all don't take understanding race seriously. I mean, you motherfuckers created this shit, benefit from it, but don't want to take responsibility to at least learn enough about it to treat niggas a certain type of way. And some of you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not asking niggas to go and donate to your local NAACP or some shit. I'm not telling you motherfuckers to go get a dime. Some of y'all niggas already contributing up, going to go get the dime bags from the hustlers and whoop and the third, you know what I'm saying, or whatever you do. That somehow that goes to the community, I guess, because none of it really does. All of it goes to one individual who spends it right back, takes it right back and spends it with another motherfucker outside of the community, usually. And we could talk about those group economics at one point, but right now I just want to stay on what's causing the division, because we got to understand each other's worlds, bro. The black world is a thing. We're different. Like I said, it's differences to us. It's words that we're using today that 40, 50 years ago meant totally different shit. You know what I'm saying? Some of us don't even get the connotations behind this shit. Hell, picnic. Yeah, go pick one of them niggas over there that we can hang his ass. That's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll take my lady on a picnic plenty of times, bro. I like, you know what I'm saying? We do that. You know what I'm saying? We picnic, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying 40, 50 years ago, it's really more like 60, 70 years ago. But either way it goes, in them 50s and in them 60s and shit like that, they was picking niggas. Even before then, in them 20s, especially fresh out of the slavery, them times, they was picking niggas. Which one of you niggas we gonna put on this tree, bro? And at some point, we gotta respect that certain shit shouldn't even be a thing, bro. Like, you gotta be one diabolical motherfucker to use something like any, mini, money, mo. You know what I'm saying? As a children's thing, after you've used it for all this damn, you know what I'm saying, I guess buffoonery ass, you know what I'm saying, jokery between white folks about niggas and whatever. And I can't remember exactly why any, mini, money, mo. You know what I'm saying? But go look that shit up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty sadistic, bro, to say the least. And I don't think most people today know a lot of this shit, bro. But at the end of the day, man, America is going to be and stay divided, or you're going to conform. Because on one side, they telling you, man, hey, erase your culture, buy into American culture. But then America turns around and pillages from every other culture, and then we call this shit American culture. We think a hamburger is American culture. We think pizza is American culture. Like, bro, all this shit, bro. Like, I don't know what American food. I ain't saying America don't have cultures either. You know what I'm saying? Because American, it is a unique melting pot here. So I think when you are able to maintain your own culture while adding to the American culture of free enterprise and, you know, be your own man type shit or woman, you know what I'm saying? Even though that's kind of more recent, you know what I'm saying, as far as being your own man. They hate that shit. again, going back to Kamala Harris, even the Democratic Party is divided on whether or not she should be president. We have a former president, Obama, who at his time in election garnered more or the most votes at that time and the most attention around the election, like at that time, until Donald J. Trump entered the chat or whatever. Even though I want to say it was more the second election where it was the record turnout, as opposed, which, you know, a lot of people are contesting with the whole, you know, about who the hell would give a damn about Joe Biden type shit. You know, I always gotta hate Joe, Sleepy Joe, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I knew when I seen Donald Trump that Donald Trump was gonna be a different monster, man. And I instantly started making posts and all that shit about, like, why is people sensationalized by a fucking reality TV star? And here we are, bro. This nigga was not only was a president, but a convicted felon. And he might be president. I ain't gonna say might. He's going to be president again. Let's be honest, man. He's probably going to be president again. Because these motherfuckers missed. And now, hey, it's up, bro. It ain't nothing but a gangster party. Like, if one thing I can say, Donald Trump is probably the most gangster when it comes to this, how he handles the candidacy and being a president. Like, if you want to say there ever been a nigga president, because, you know what I'm saying, there's definitely been a black president, never been a nigga president. If there was ever a nigga president, it's Donald Trump, old pasty, goofy ass. As far as, like, if you want to take nigga into the like the definition of nigga as in the ignorant shit and all that shit, and not taking it back to the roots and shit, the word it come from and shit in Africa. But you know what I'm saying? As far as the ignorant connotation, you know what I'm saying? Then yeah, Donald Trump is definitely a nigga. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Like, for some people, they'll be happy to hear that, man. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, Donald Trump a nigga, man. I can vote for him. Blah, blah, blah. But for others, yeah, saying it's gonna hurt their soul to even think about the fact that we were talking about how criminals should comply with the law, and all the justifications behind Breonna Taylor's murder and George Floyd's murder and Ahmaud Arbery's murder. Well, let me not say it. Matter of fact, man, let me let Conscious don't speak real quick, because Conscious said it way better than I could, man. And these goofies ain't gonna ever give a fuck about nothing that we talking about anyway, man. Might as well let a true articulate man spit that shit a little bit better than I could, because I'm just gonna give it to you raw, like a Texas nigga. Only a Texas nigga can, man. I ain't finna sugarcoat this shit, put no sugar drops on that shit, man. I can't find a video though. Hold on, my nigga. But a lot of these niggas get lost in the sauce, and then they want to say we lost in the sauce, because I call all us niggas is niggas, man. The white niggas, the black niggas, the Mexican niggas, we all niggas, man. We all got the foolishness in us, and we all got that king shit in us, man. We just gotta tap into that shit, man. But some people get caught up too much into the bullshit, bro. Like, get caught up too much into the void, the sunken place, man. Some people call it, man. People get caught up in the ideologies and the race and the identity, when, you know what I'm saying, your identity should be you. Shouldn't be what's on you, bro. It's gotta be in you, my nigga. It's gotta come from the heart, my nigga. And if people came from the heart a little bit more, then a lot of this race shit, a lot of this politics shit, a lot of this ideology shit wouldn't even be able to penetrate, like, good, standing, righteous people, bro. But we got people who want to outsource their knowledge and emotions and how they feel. But let's go.
I'm taking my hair down right now, and I'm really thinking, these folks is really chastising us in 2020 and 2021 for quote-unquote supporting criminals and criminal activity when it came to Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, just for them to turn around years later and try to elect somebody as president that's a bigger criminal than everybody out of his name put together? Man, that shit crazy. Especially when you acknowledge how they sensationalized what happened to Breonna Taylor in Louisville and knowing that she ain't never been convicted of no crimes at all. You see what I'm saying? Meanwhile, the dude that looked like Franklin, what's the old white man name? I think of his name. Mitch McConnell, what I'm talking about, and he definitely do look like Franklin the Turtle. I wonder if him and his supporters is keeping that same energy about criminality and respecting the law and conforming to the law when it comes to the convicted felon, Donald Trump. Think about how many times we've been told, well, if they would have conformed to the law, they would have just abided by the law, they'll be alive today. Meanwhile, this man is bucking the law, talking shit about the FBI, the CIA, all of the policing. The same people that told us that we should just respect the law, there ain't no issues with the system. Now all of a sudden the system is what we've been saying it is. Janked up, messed up, and rigged. But not against him, though. Education is elevation.
You know what I'm saying? I couldn't say it no better, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, why in the hell are we even here right now with this whole Donald Trump situation, bro? And like, people are, like I say, failing to realize, bro, how big of a play Donald Trump had in, like, what was it? I think was it the 2020 attempted kidnapping of was it Gretchen Whitmer? I think it was Gretchen Whitmer. Let me look at my notes real quick, nigga, just to make sure that I have the right name. Cause you know what I'm saying? These niggas don't be giving a fuck when it comes to Donald Trump inciting violence. You know what I'm saying? They'll talk about the left and how the left demonized Donald Trump. That's why somebody shot his ass. Blah, blah, blah. If it wasn't for the left demonizing Trump, and he's just a good man and all this blah, blah, blah. Yet we fail to realize that Donald Trump been talking that shit since the beginning, bro. Man, matter of fact, I gotta go on ahead and play old Donald speaking that shit.
This is the incident that led a judge to declare it's plausible Donald Trump incited violence.
Get out! You know, in the old days, which isn't so long ago, when we were less politically correct, that kind of stuff wouldn't have happened. Today we have to be so nice, so nice. We always have to be so nice.
The woman getting pushed and two other anti-Trump protesters accused Trump supporters of assault and battery and accused Donald Trump himself of incitement to riot. The judge in Louisville, Kentucky ruling there is enough evidence against the president to allow the case to go forward. During the campaign, then candidate Trump clearly enjoyed being a tough guy.
Get out of here! Get out! 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 Get him out of here! Shame on you! Shame on you!
And the lawsuit identified other rallies where the president allegedly incited violence.
Bye-bye!
Such as this one in Las Vegas in February 2016.
Bye-bye! Look, see, he's smiling. See, he's having a good time. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks.
A few weeks earlier in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Mr. Trump told the crowd he had been warned protesters might have tomatoes.
So if you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously. Okay? Just knock the hell. I promise you, I will pay for the legal fees. I promise. I promise.
The president's verbal attacks, a reliable way to stir up the audience. Although on this October 2016 day in Green Bay, he didn't know he was insulting a supporter.
All right, get him out. Get him out.
A supporter who had fallen ill The commotion coming from people shouting for a doctor, starting a chant of medical. But Mr. Trump didn't realize what was going on and kept on with the lines that normally got him cheers.
There's always one.
Typically, though, that kind of talk was red meat for his supporters during the campaign. And on that day in Cedar Rapids, when he said he'd pay the legal fees of any supporter who knocked the crap out of somebody, he also added,
There won't be so much because the courts agree with us, too.
but that certainly remains to be seen. This is the incident that led a judge.
Yeah, man. So yeah, you can see it playing with your eyes, bro. All you got to do is pay attention, bro. Like, I'm gonna be the nigga that's gonna keep bringing back the past. Before Trump was even in office, man. He was talking like this. Now, when Trump got in office, we all know how he was such a big Twitter man, talking crazy and shit like that. And so many people are mad, like Donald Trump got deplatformed and blah blah blah. But let's not forget how Donald Trump used the Twitter platform to personally send out messages and certain dog whistles to his supporters. Now, I think I was talking about Gretchen Whitmer. Let me I pulled it up right here. Okay. Donald Trump's list of bullshit. Now, Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying, tweeted, you know what I'm saying, during, I guess what it was like maybe 2 weeks after the midterm primaries 2018 to liberate Michigan, liberate motherfucking Virginia, liberate what was it, Illinois or Indiana or some shit, man. Let me see. No, Minnesota. I believe these were some of the most highly protested areas when it came to the mask mandate, as well as the George Floyd protest. And a lot of people were pissed off that protesters were constantly out in the streets while they had to be in the house and couldn't go to church. And I'm not really mad at them for that, because certain routines like exercising and going to church does well for one's mental health. But instead of telling these people to go out and peacefully protest, he told them to uprise. Now, most people would see where that could be very troubling, and especially adding in this tweet that they're trying to take your Second Amendment rights. These people got guns in Michigan. 13 people, part of this right-wing militia called the Wolverine Watchmen, went to the state capitol or some shit like that, bro, and tried to kidnap. Well, I guess they got caught on the way. Let me not sensationalize it too much. They got caught on the way trying to go and kidnap the governor of Michigan. This is after Trump tweeted, liberate Michigan, liberate Minnesota, liberate Virginia, and all this shit about the Second Amendment being taken from an uprise. That sounds like an incitement to violence. Yet, we never hear about this anymore. We never hear about this from the right. And when the right talks about any of the problems in our country, you know what we hear from the right, bro? Let's go to a clip from one of the most prominent of the right, man. Let's go one of the most prominent, man. Let me find this nigga, man. Cause Charlie Kirk, he think he not a nigga, but he a nigga too. You know how many niggas I know named Charlie, man? But this is what we go here from them talking about our border.
Which one was managing the border better?
I think Joe Biden. And I will justify that. I will justify it.
Please.
Economically, when an immigrant comes to this country, even an illegal immigrant, even someone who does not have high-level, high-earning skills, they contribute more to the economy as a whole than they take away. They contribute to fixed expenses like the military. They provide more into social benefits than they take. And if we're talking about issues with like job scarcity, what we actually have is an issue with job distribution and the way our systems are set up to take advantage of poor working class Americans.
So do you believe in borders at all?
I believe that practically, yes. I believe that there does need to be major reform in the way we deal with borders.
I just want to make sure you understand. How many people do you think are coming across the border every day?
I do not have the exact numbers on that,
Yes.
but I think it's a reasonable amount. I'd probably say in the thousands, tens of thousands.
Yeah, 10 to 15,000 a day. So to put that annualized, that's 3.65 million a year minimum.
Sure.
Right? That is the population more than some U.S. states. You're saying it's all a benefit. First of all, tell that to the family of Laken Riley, okay? Secondly,
yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. There was some truth actually on both sides. You know what I'm saying? And especially in how Charlie Kirk, you know what I'm saying, was talking about the constant barrage of immigrants coming into our country. But what he'll fail to tell you is, and what he didn't even try to elaborate or explain, that Joe Biden's presidency so far has deported more illegal immigrants than Donald Trump in his presidency. And let's not forget, who everybody hates the most, Obama, I want to say still holds the record right now for the most annually deported immigrants at around like 500,000. But the thing is that when it comes to immigrants, there's a whole lot of nuance and shit to this shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? When an illegal immigrant comes over here, there's a lot of questions that has to be answered. Is this person going to be viable or a liability to country? All these different things, and they have to vet this out very, very, very carefully. And I don't think they always vet it out very carefully. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they do use immigrants as a way to line their pockets a lot of times. But this happens on the right and the left. Because a lot of times we like to look at big businesses just, oh yeah, the tech and blah, blah, Hollywood and woo, woo, woo. But it's a lot of right-leaning business owners out here in our society. I actually made a video talking just about that. Y'all should go check that out when we're talking about who's the House really representing. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these House of Representatives, a lot of these senators, even the president, are getting their pockets lined by the biggest corporations in our nation, who are pushing them to put certain policies at play to keep us distracted, to keep us, you know what I'm saying, at bay, so they can keep making money in a place where there's really becoming a very finite amount of resources. We should be attacking class and figuring out how to destroy this deficit if we even can. Which I believe we can, but I mean, at some point we got to scrap the system maybe and start anew, something. But we so stuck in profit margins and, you know what I'm saying, and surplus for the company. Never surplus for our country, but surplus for our corporations out there, so they can keep making trillions and well, billions or millions, whatever the fuck they making. Because honestly, we don't know these days. I don't think anybody is keeping track of the richest of the rich. We know the Bill Gates and we know the Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, but I believe it gets more deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? Because even these people need to be funded. And when you have shit like Congress being able to trade in stock and all that shit, and Fed members, the members of the Federal Reserve being able to trade and shit, when these people are directly making the laws and or not making laws that directly affect the markets, yeah, you know what I'm saying, insider trading is supposed to be illegal. I find that funny, man. I find that very funny, man. That these people get to day trade and do this and that and be all infecting in the stock markets. All these motherfuckers got stocks and shit. Everybody tell you about stocks, but they don't tell you that certain people are investing in the stock that necessarily they're the ones that control how the stock goes up and down. They know when the stock is going to go up. They know when the stock is going to go down because they're directly affecting these stocks. That's why, you know what I'm saying, and I didn't elaborate in the House in the People video that voting becomes obsolete to a certain degree if I have more incentive to go with whatever my lobbyists are wanting and what they are pushing for me to back in these PACs and in all these different places where I'm getting funded for my campaign. If they have certain agendas, it's more in line and it's more inclined for me to go with their agenda as opposed to the regular schmegler American people. And when people start to realize that, it'll definitely, you know what I'm saying, open their eyes to some shit. But at the end of the day, we living in the best fucked up place there is. So we can't complain too much, can we? We can't say that there's an inequality or racial inequality of or social inequality of opportunity, is there? Let's see what one Black American thinks out here in the social media sphere.
Racism and racial inequality in America. So let's talk about it. Now, I'm admittedly not well versed on all the relevant data behind this topic, but I'll still try to tackle it with as much background knowledge and experience as I can. Is there racism in America? Yes. Now, the answer isn't yes because it's an exclusive phenomenon to America. I think racism is a potential pathology that can manifest itself in any human anywhere because it's derived from the naturalistic human instinct or motivation towards tribalism. Tribalism is actually an evolutionary survival tactic, but it's one of the ones that can and has gone severely wrong. The reason it's such a central topic to the framework of America is because of our horrifying history with race. But to the point, yes, there is a lingering element of racism in America, but I couldn't tell you exactly how prevalent it is. Now, is there racial inequality in America? Technically, there's two answers to that question. I believe there is some inequality of outcome between blacks and whites, specifically, even considering our demographical percentages. And I point to the example of the incarceration rates of blacks being vastly larger than that of whites, even though we account for a smaller proportion of the population. Now, the reason can go way further than just blatant racial inequality because it could also be due to the prevalence of fatherlessness in black families. But to a different point, I have no evidence to suggest that there is racial inequality of opportunity, and I say that drawing from my own personal experience. I've had opportunities to be accepted into any job or university I've applied to. I've had the same rights and freedoms as anyone else, and the same goes for all my black friends too. I've never felt nor had proof that I lacked opportunities because of my race, despite what mainstream media has tried to make me believe. Now, am I suggesting that there was no racial inequality of opportunity in America? No, because I don't have the relevant data or evidence on it. There could very well be an element of that. I just don't know. But I do know this. I'm not willing to accept that racism is the overarching element central to American society, despite what the social justice types are trying to force onto everybody. Nor am I willing to let that toxic and counterproductive ideology infiltrate my life. Whether there is that element of racism in America or not, I won't start acting as if it's stopping me from accomplishing my goals because I have zero evidence to suggest that it is.
Amen, brother. Amen. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's got a unique experience. And to a certain degree, I agree with a lot of what he said. Now, we don't know necessarily if there is inequality of opportunity per se. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever your neighborhood or city is, everybody in that city somewhat to a certain degree, depending on, you know what I'm saying, other social barriers that everybody else has, like education and age and all these different things, you know what I'm saying, have about the same amount of opportunity. Yet, when society has a mentality of a certain, what can we say, ideology, maybe, let's say, or social norm, then it becomes prevalent that certain groups, like he said in the tribalistic instinct, would tend to lend more opportunities to those in their likeness. So if a certain tribe, let's just say, because we don't want to just throw black and white in it, because then it becomes a whole murky conversation, right? So a certain tribe is the prime holder of most of the opportunities and most of the distributing of said opportunities. Some people will believe, and my bad, that's the gas, man. Some people will believe that certain people would tend to lean only toward their own demographic or own tribe, whereas other people who are not in that tribe, if they were in the same position, maybe they would tend to do the exact same thing just based on a familiarity with or I don't know if I even use that word right, but you know what I'm saying, a familiarity, I think, you know what I'm saying, with with their same tribe. So when it comes down to it, we will never get like a social analysis of the minds of every corporation that gives you a job, and then how corporations work. There's so many breakdowns in between the top and the bottom just because one person happens to be maybe more racially motivated than another. It can never get to the owners, even though usually culture comes from the owner on down. The owner sets the culture of whatever the business is going to be, and then gets like certain, you know what I'm saying, CEOs and CFOs and all these different people to come together and figure out how each part of their team is going to fulfill and exude said culture. So it's definitely reasonable to say that if it is some racism in the chain of command, that it could possibly be coming from the top. But until we can get more further proof, I guess it's yet to be seen, man. But let's talk about more of let's see what we're gonna go to. What is race? What does race mean to you? That's a good question, you know what I'm saying? Race to me means a sprint to a finish line, or a construct, I guess, created by some Europeans, huh? I don't know, man. But race has a lot of connotations, man. But obviously we or in a world where race really matters to, I guess, people in different ways. Like, especially here in America. And I ain't gonna say in the world, because I don't know how the world necessarily all the way operates. But in America, race matters when it needs to matter, and race doesn't matter when it should probably matter to certain people, but it doesn't need to matter to the other people. So, you know what I'm saying? It's a tricky situation, man. But man, we got some old schools that's gonna talk about race, man, real quick in this short little clip, and then we're gonna talk about it.
And that is one of the fundamental problems in America, because race suggests one of us got to win, the rest of y'all gonna lose. It's in the word. It's in the word. The moment we say race is the moment somebody got to get second.
And somebody got to be last. But now, black people, I don't believe we're second. So who's last, nigga? I guess it's Native Americans, right? Since the Native Americans were somewhere wiped out. But I forgot, niggas is trying to co-opt Native American culture, and Aboriginal, whatever the fuck they call themselves now, is on the rise right now. So let me not say too much on the Native American tip. But we're definitely down at the bottom of the totem pole right now. And a lot of people feel like it's for a lot of different reasons. I think we're going to tap into what the one and the only Chaotic Truth has to say about black people in their culture.
But it's going to be like a bar. You go there and you get your wheatgrass shots. You think we could do that with black?
No, they don't like to eat new shit. They don't eat new stuff. You go to a black cookout, it's potato chips, pork beans, ribs, some burnt burgers, and some burnt ass hot dogs. And either they play 2 games. It used to haunt me as a kid. They play 2 games, spades and dominoes. And then they criticize other groups of people for playing, I don't know, cornhole. All the hundreds of thousands of board games that are out there. All of these other games, they don't broaden their palate.
When I was in college many years ago, Gway and Black Rick, there was like little clubs that these white kids would start, and we thought that these were like weird white kids. These weren't like the Saved by the Bell looking white kids. These were like the kind of you know, I don't want to say kind of like goofy looking, but they would dress up in medieval attire, and they would go to the back of the student center, and they would have like little fights, but like it was all choreographed, of course, right?
Yeah.
They were like, let's fighting each other, you know, and we would like laugh at them. Now, Black Rick, why did we laugh at them, Black Rick?
Because ignorance is the only thing the niggas understand. Niggas gravitate toward. And look, it's in my blood. I see some nigga neighbors, they get to fighting. I stop my car.
These were white kids. They had formed like
a. These were white kids.
It's like reenactment of medieval battles. And they would have fake swords.
Oh,
it was like, they were like actually It was fun. It was today. They were having fun. They were like, Sir such and such and Sir blah blah blah. And
I know what you're talking about.
And so we thought it was a weird thing, but in fact, they were teaching each other like certain battles and things that like ancient medieval times. I don't know, but I feel like we were laughing at them because because all we ever did was go back and drink and party,
weed and party. Well, so again, this goes back to the expansive nature of whites versus inner city blacks. They want to broaden their palate in every capacity. This is why they got liquid death water, man. That's $1 billion. No nigga thought to do that because they're dumb. They don't think they niggas are good at inner city blacks are good at about 3 or 4 things.
What are those things?
Like Blackish here. rolling a blunt, looking like a damn buffoon. Try to see the Negro mind. He can't compete with like some dude. He can't compete intellectually. So there's some dude. Hey, look, and I'll go after this. Some dude, I know you've been at a bar. Some black dude tried to check you, and he grunted and said, "Yeah, nigga, my nuts," and grabbed his balls, and trying to act like that's a dominant stance. See the difference. And I'm gonna get up out of here. See the difference. Blackish, that other nigga that was on the panel. Yeah, go on. I know you got something homophobic to say.
I mean, at least you act white enough to.
Hey, Rock, you got like an echo, bro. You got like an echo. Hold on, you might want to change that. Hey, Rock, I mean not Rock, Black Rick, before you leave, if I were to be in a black barbershop and I were to say, hey guys, now I'm at a black barbershop in the hood. Now, if
Yeah, we ain't gonna let that keep going. But just know, you know what I'm saying? It don't get much better than that. Now, though I have some agreements with him on the fact that white people having access to more activities leads to less crime in a neighborhood, because more people that are busy tend to not want to do crimes because, you know, they're so busy with their schedule. They don't want to go get arrested and shit. Whereas, you know, the lack of opportunity in the black community can lead to more violence and more crime. Now, the reasons why there are a lack of opportunity in certain black neighborhoods, because it's not for all, because I know some people believe there isn't a lack of opportunity. But let's just say this. When you have viable cities or not viable cities now, but viable cities of the past like Detroit and Cleveland and all of the Rust Belt, and you have black people moving into these places for a viable living and, you know what I'm saying, job and, you know what I'm saying, pursuit of their own happiness. And then you have white people move right the fuck up out of there, take all the jobs with them, all the businesses start to shut down simultaneously. Then you kind of leave people with no option but crime at that point, because what you have left are the jobs that would usually be for the younger generation, the teens and shit. And most economies, you're not going to live well on a McDonald's salary or a McDonald's wage per se. Some people can, like I say, there's the managers and all that shit like that. But for the most part, the average wage worker is not going to make bukus of bread. And especially when you go and add in and factor in cost of living depending on whatever city you're talking about. So to say that black people are not into these things when you're dealing with decades of black people living in decaying cities and not having or being exposed to certain, you know what I'm saying, niche businesses and certain niche hobbies and shit like that. Not even being exposed to the bare necessities of certain societal norms like education, good schools, and good housing. It's kind of hard to want to give a fuck about candles, nigga. Yeah. It's just kind of hard to give a fuck about candles and yoga and fucking coffee and tea and shit when a nigga don't even know if I'm gonna have the water on at the end of the week. You know what I'm saying? So for chaotic, man, to not try to go and nuance the conversation, really, like I could go to more clips, but like with chaotic, man, it kind of gets worse, and I don't want to enrage my people. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's nobody watching this shit, but the people who do come across this shit, I don't want to enrage anybody who gets this far with more bullshit that leads to no solutions. What I want to get people to realize is that the division amongst the people, whether it be even in our own subsect of black people. There's a reason behind it all. You know what I'm saying? Race is a big thing that have to do with it, and identity. Political ideology has a lot to do with it, and just philosophy in general. My bad, philosophy. But philosophy in general has a lot to do with it, because a lot of niggas don't understand why they think the way they think. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know what's shaping the way they think. A lot of people on the other side think you're being shaped just by the Democratic Party alone. And for some of you niggas, you are. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you choose to accept as the right in the world. But there's so much shaping both sides of the argument, and a lot of it is based in half truths and misinformation, where we'll never see eye to eye. You go ask a black person and a white person what race means to you, you'll probably get two different answers. For one, it'll be pretty much the cause of a lot of their detriment, and you know what I'm saying, woo, and their somewhat struggle here. And even though it's a better society, still a pretty messed up society that we live in. Whereas on the other side, you'll see somebody who probably doesn't care what the fuck is race. Race means nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go to a very taboo topic real quick, where we're gonna have somebody explain critical race theory. So let's see if we will come out accepting this theory of theirs. Let's go.
A lot of folks are talking about critical race theory and have no idea what that term means. Let me break it down. Dr. Ian Haney Lopez argues that critical race theory can be best understood by what it is responding to, namely liberal race theory. Liberal race theory is essentially the idea that racism is an individual ignorance problem, that if we had less bigots, we'd have less racism, and historically marginalized groups would flourish. In other words, get rid of the N-word users, become more colorblind, and we're Gucci. Side note, some of y'all still believe that. Critical race theory says, yes, we can agree that the bigots are a problem, but I think there's more to racism than individual prejudice. Critical race theory essentially argues that racism is embedded into different parts of society, like the law and policy and systems. And it offers tools like impact analysis and listening to marginalized voices as important strategies to uncover and uproot racism. Dr. Imani Perry says that critical race theory is a way to understand the mechanics of racial inequality and how the law might be imagined to address those inequalities. Hopefully that helps. Like and follow for more.
So he pretty much explains critical race theory in such a way that it's more about analyzing the collective and figuring out collective solutions to what some people would call an individual problem. You know, some people don't believe in the whole systemic racism thing, and believe that systemic racism is more of a creation of social justice warriors to find something new to complain about, as if systematic racism has not already been a thing with redlining and, you know what I'm saying, gerrymandering and fucking unfair and inequitable housing loans and shit like that. Like, it's so many cases of bullshit on either side, you know what I'm saying, of the spectrum, how you want to call it. But when we talk about race in general, there's a definite amount of suppression when it comes to black thought and black creation of any type of philosophy system. If it's not suppressed, it's co-opted to become something either a negative, like the Black Panther and Black Lives Matter movement, or positive, like some of the programs and shit that came out of the Black Panther Party, you know what I'm saying? Which a lot of it was already a thing, but like the free school lunches and shit was kind of new. The collective like militia, you know what I'm saying, black militia thing, I think it's been redone multiple times since now, you know what I'm saying, and the militants of the black community. But for the most part, everything that was done by the Black Panthers was looked to be domestic terrorism and socialists and Marxists, which comes down to the whole ideology and propaganda. Like some people don't understand the whole with Operation Mockingbird and the anti-communist propaganda that has been pushed in America, and to the point that it's become true in America that pretty much communism cannot work, and communism is this bad word, and Marxist is this bad devilish person. When and I'm not saying necessarily I'm a Marxist, because I would love to be a capitalist, you know what I'm saying, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying that to completely damn and destroy a system when we never even given it any legitimacy from the start, not even tried to come into any of this shit with good faith. You know what I'm saying? As soon as it was a threat to capitalism, that became it. And communists were, you know what I'm saying, shunned and blacklisted. You know what I'm saying? Another racial old word, you know what I'm saying? But or old racist, well, a word with race, or a phrase, whatever, with racist connotations. But communism and black history actually has a lot of intertwining history, especially here in America. And for black people to be so off against communism and socialism and all this shit without even actually really understanding what these systems were, whether that be the Soviet Union or the fucking Maoist China, you know what I'm saying? I think it'll do us, or it even can go to Nazi Germany, you know what I'm saying, which was more capitalist, you know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying, some people don't understand, you know what I'm saying? Or you can even say fascist, you know what I'm saying, when it came to Nazi Germany. But it's so many different labels you can put on certain shit, because not everything can just fit into one neat little box. And when people try to generalize a society or generalize the history that has been laid out before us, you really do a disservice to the people of really understanding how much more it's so much more to the picture than people really tend to realize when it comes to any of these things, our history, all that shit. And like I say, I'm not one to go all the way into alternative history and all that shit like some niggas would like to go, but I definitely think there's some viability in being critical to what you've been taught and what you're learning. So we should definitely get to that. But let's get to one of the more interesting questions. Even though this white guy tends to, he kind of tries to answer the question, I think we're going to give a little bit of a more, you know what I'm saying, nuanced answer.
I'm going to get in trouble for this. I already know it, but you know what? I need to know. Are there certain black people that just don't like us because we're white? And I'm not even being political or racial or anything. I just want to know from my black friends out there on TikTok, like, are there some black people that just don't like us because we're white for no other reason?
This video is for educational purposes only, and it's not even really addressing this person. Because honestly, it wasn't a genuine dialogue to begin with. Just two things. First, if you're asking this question to black people on TikTok, that either means that you don't have genuine relationships with black folks in your life that you could ask this question to, or it's a disingenuous attempt to get views and build your platform. The second thing is that we live in a racial caste system. So we're all born into a social hierarchy based on race. We didn't create that, but we inherited it from the people that did. And they used it to subjugate and oppress black people. That system has been in place for centuries now, and it continues to this day. So while you think people should like you because you're friendly, you're still white. And you still represent and embody the oppression that black folks experience in this country. So rather than worrying about if people like you, maybe start thinking about why they don't trust you and your friendliness.
Yeah. So though he gives a lot of great points to his explanation there, I have to give some pushback on one thing, man. And it's this social, and we're all born to this social hierarchy. Now, one thing I think white people don't tend to realize is that in the founding of this country, it was rich white men that were pulling the strings and calling the, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot, and it's so much it's sent so many different people to America, but at the end of the day, for the most part, the people running the show were definitely well-funded and rich white men. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to emphasize on it being white men to get a gotcha on white men and shit. I'm just letting it be known that these rich white men could give two fucks about a poor white man. We can go to Shays Rebellion, Bacon's Rebellion, go to multiple different promises that were made in the Revolutionary War and just all these different things. You know what I'm saying? Different promises made to the American people throughout different parts of our existence, and how they do try to fulfill more of their promises that they made to the white people. But for the most part, they've never given them quite what they told them that they could aspire for. See, when you really pull back the layers of this thing we call America, the hierarchy is more simple than people try to give it credit for. They try to, especially black people, because black people, and it's not me taking any viability from race or away from it, but let's just say this: rich gonna work together in certain ways, and then there's gonna be racism amongst the rich with the people who care about race that much in the wealth. But one thing about wealth tends to bring more viable educations and shit like that. So you tend to be able to experience a lot more of the world to a certain degree. And it's kind of harder to be racist when you experience the world in its totality, I believe, because you see there's so many different cultures and so many different ways of thinking. And you become more appreciative of the diversity in every person out there. You find the good in all the people out there. At least I tend to do when I do my travelings, but I haven't traveled around the world, just around the United States a little bit. But my point is that there is still some divide in this country that is outside of race. You know what I'm saying? A lot of niggas will get caught up on the race aspect and don't understand that it's the reason why they want to make us the permanent, you know what I'm saying, bottom class. The thing is, they can't do that. It's too many people here, bro. People have to just start dying pretty much, because this country really has the amount of resources, but then you have to take land away from certain people and all these different things. And these are more hypotheses than actually me just knowing every fact behind it, but it's just my whole thought process behind it is that when you have people who know that, all right, we have these resources here in America, oil, natural gas, all that type of shit. But you have a certain part of society that wants to preserve our nature and all that shit like that. It becomes tricky when it becomes time to try to extract this, and then extracting this will also probably, spike up a lot of prices in oil and shit. Like, people don't realize when Trump was trying to be more oil dependent here, the prices of oil and the gas went through the roof for a nice little period of time. There was COVID as well, but gas prices were raising before we went on alert for COVID. Just want to make sure y'all know that. You know what I'm saying? Gas had got pretty low, but when you start only drilling at home, you know what I'm saying? We gotta pay the people who are mining that oil and that gas and them natural resources a lot more than we pay people in different countries or you know what I'm saying, all that type of shit. Like, it's a lot different, bro. Because we don't necessarily pay those people in other countries, but I'm just saying, like, as far as like oil coming from here is gonna cost a little bit different than oil coming from another place. Cause you know what I'm saying, and it all comes down to it. America is the supposed measure of value when it comes to our dollar and all that shit like that. We set the standard, even though we are definitely going into volatile times when it comes to that. It's, as of right now, we still hold the power. It's so much that I really want to get into, but I'm really kind of tired of this shit, man, already. So I'm just gonna play one more clip, and then I'm probably finna go slide out this bitch, man. Been at it for an hour and 30, and shit, that shit is good enough for me as far as getting out some information out there to the people. And I really had a lot more, but when a nigga really trying to talk down and break down this shit, I really try to, you know what I'm saying, give it to people a certain way that's it comes off kind of relatable and also easy to understand. So hopefully I did that for anybody who runs across this video. But I know for some that people not gonna try to get it. And we only got through actually two questions, man. What does race mean? So we might double back and do a part two. You know what I'm saying? Where I go through the rest of the videos and clips and the questions. So if anybody that does watch it and get this far, let me know if y'all actually want that. You know what I'm saying out here, man. But let's go and play the clip, man.
In Miami, I know people don't know and understand the racism that happened in Miami, but Miami, unlike other cities, they put black people to the center of the city on a ridge. There we go. So they put us on a ridge inside of the center of the city because when they came into the city, they wanted to build out the beach. Miami's supposed to be this beautiful tropical playground for northerners to come down and have fun in during the winter time for all the snowbirds to come on down to Miami. It's beach weather right now. So they built this place for that. However, people had to live, so people started to move into other areas, so they forced black people into the center of the city. Now, 100+ years ago, that probably was a great idea, but now Miami is ground zero for sea level rise in the world. Not just the country, the world. Okay, we are expecting up to 6 feet of water into our city. So right now, you have places like Miami Beach, South Beach, sitting at 0 or under sea level, right? So you have communities like Liberty City and Little Haiti, Overtown, Allapattah, Little Havana, Coconut Grove, and some of us are sitting 8 feet, 10 feet, 17 feet, 15 feet above sea level. Now, I know for people who are from, like...
Now, I will add a little correction to what she was saying. because she didn't mean to say above, she meant to say below sea level, because the minority, or if you want to use that word, I know some people don't like that word minority, but because these communities of Liberty City, Little Havana, all that shit are not just black communities, but also Latin American communities as well. And they sit in what she said is on a ridge, but it's in a ridge. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much like a small slit in the ground where it could be as deep as what she was saying, 17 feet deep or below sea level. And it's highly convenient that the white people of Miami-Dade County and I don't know all the other counties that are in Miami, but wanted to push the people into the trench necessarily of that trench that she was talking about, the ridge. And with Miami being, like she said, ground zero for rising sea levels, it is a dangerous situation that the black people who call these places home have to deal with these days. And it's kind of racism in a nutshell when it comes down to it. We put people in certain situations, and then it's the hell with them. Whatever happens, happens. You can look at Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, or you can go back in time and look at all the viable cities that ended up under water now, where prominent lakes are at, like Lake Lanier in Georgia. So all I can say to my people out there is try to keep your head above water. All I can tell is the white people out there is try to understand us a little bit more, man. Like, I understand it's a lot of ignorance in my community, but it's a lot of intelligence as well. And sometimes you can find intelligence and ignorance in the same person. Sometimes we have to stop looking at the layer that is always being shown on the outside and start trying to peel back the layers to get to the inside, the character, the true character of a lot of people. And I think we'll find that we have a lot more in common than we have in contrast. So I'm gonna end up playing one more little clip, man, real quick, man. Let's see. And this is going to be I'm gonna have to source this one when I come back for the part 2. But here we go. You know what I'm saying? Top 5 racist countries in the world.
5 most dangerous countries for black people to live in, aka the most racist countries in the world. Can you guess who number 1 is? Let's find out. At number 5, Russia, 62% racist. Number 4, Israel, 65% racist. Number 3, France, 68% racist. Number 2, Britain, 69% racist. Before we reveal our number 1, click the plus button here and also check out my profile for more lists like this. Number 1 for the most racist country, United States of America, 78% racist. Do you agree with this list?
Be safe, stay dangerous. I'm out.